à Siblings Make Sound avec Alexis et moi, mais aujourd'hui, on a un invité spécial, Geoff, Mr. Geoff, the bass
Hello.
player of life.
Hi.
Donc aujourd'hui, on va vous parler, on espère qu'il va vous raconter des anecdotes. Puis, we're going to talk about Geoff today.
Yes. Well, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've had Geoff in the crew.
Yeah, how long has it been?
Yeah, when did we meet?
I think we're coming up on 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Damn. Let's bring that mic up a
That
little.
would have been,
We call that a long-term relationship.
yeah, I think so. That would have been circa 2017, 2018.
Yeah, I think 2018, eh? That's
Yeah,
when we
maybe
met.
6 years.
We met at the school.
Yeah. Shout out to École Musique Marché. Ron and Johnny.
How did you hear about us or hear our music first? Like, was it just when we met at the school? Like, how did that? Do you remember how that happened?
Yeah, because we met at the school, and then there was a staff party at the school, which I think was kind of the first time we hung out. And then, yeah, I don't know. I showed you some of my stuff. You showed me some of yours, music stuff. And, yeah, I don't know. At that point, you guys were doing like very low key, kind of just keyboard and
The cajon,
and voice. But I was pretty sure that okay, I really want to join this band. So at the time, I was mostly practicing Henrik Linder and dirty loops and trying to play as fast as possible all the time. But I also wanted an outlet where I could play music that was a little bit more low key and kind of play down a bit.
Right.
Because I kind of need both in my life. And so I ended up putting together a P bass for this band. I had
Did you know that? Sabatsu?
No idea.
He wanted to be in the band so bad that he put together a bass just for that.
What
Yeah.
was the thought behind that?
Well,
like you're insane.
because I have that 6-string over there, which is a pretty aggressive sound. And at the time, that's not what you guys were doing. Ironically, now I tour in other bands with a P bass and only use this bass for this band because you guys give me so much freedom to do what I do. But at the time, yeah, this was it was low key. It was Rémi on guitar, drums.
Oh, wow. Forgot
I
about him.
played upright sometimes with you
Yeah,
guys.
true.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anyway, I had come home in the middle of winter at some point and seen a bass. This is a little bit illegal. Can I talk about this on here?
I think you're okay.
There was a bass sitting on the balcony of an abandoned apartment near my old place. And I waited 2 winters before I was like, okay, fuck it, that's my bass.
Whoa. Really?
I think you're good.
Yeah.
You were good.
Yeah.
I waited because it was just in the snow.
Oh, shit.
So it
Damn.
ended up being this really rare Korean bass that
Whoa.
had been made in Markham, Ontario. They ripped off Fender, and they used the Hagstrom logo, which is a Hagstrom there. So, but I actually wrote to Hagstrom, and the owner of the company wrote me back, and he was like, "Oh, this is 1981. We got ripped off in Ontario, and that's like one of 5 basses that exists."
Whoa.
But anyway, this thing was rotting in my closet for about a year by this point, and I was like, okay, I need a P bass, gonna play some down tempo stuff, and I put pickups and a new neck and everything on it, and brought it to the first rehearsal, which was right there.
Whoa. What bass is that?
It's
I think we have it in the... Is it the black one? No.
no, I actually
No.
sold it recently, but I have pictures of it.
Oh,
You're
no.
probably- Yeah,
You sold it for how much?
for $300, which was $300 more than I paid for it. So.
Nice. Whoa, I didn't know that story. That's wild.
Yeah. And then, so, yeah, the first show we played was at Baratu, was it? Together.
I think so.
I think that was the first
That was an
one.
awkward show.
It was awkward.
It was so awkward.
Yeah. Are we thinking of the same thing? That was awkward.
The mirrors everywhere? That certainly didn't help.
What was your feeling of awkward?
Well, the girl that opened for us, and she had all the songs about abortion rights and stuff, and then she got one of the guys from the other band to translate it.
Oh,
from English into
yes.
French for everybody.
I didn't remember that.
And everybody there was like bilingual, and we don't need to hear this twice, but okay, go ahead.
No.
But
Oh no.
Oh, man.
For me, it was the setup of the room and the mirrors, and it was this big separation between the stage and the people, and there was no one. It was just feeling weird.
was there no one?
I mean, there was like maybe 20 people.
Yeah, I kind of remember there being at least someone. Thank you. And then we met Nick after that. Lecce. Shout out to Lecce. Huh.
All right.
Jeff does this all the time. So in terms of like the shows and how they've changed, then versus now, like obviously you changed your bass. You're playing with the 6th string now.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you, from the Balatu to the show that we did in that salon, c'était où donc? It was with kick drum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
no.
we did a show
yeah.
with kick drum
Yeah.
and
Salon.
We almost did
Elizabeth's apartment. We almost did 2.
Yeah.
That was an apartment.
It was in an apartment. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it was an apartment. We played in this like little space, and people were in like c'était comme une chambre double. Tu sais, avec comme les portes genre qui étaient juste enlevées. Puis nous on jouait, puis il y avait le monde.
Oh oui, celle-là, oui.
Tu te souviens?
Yes. Dans Verdun.
Exact.
Yeah, I remember that.
exact.
There was also a Blue Dog show back then too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That I
Yeah.
played upright on.
Upright, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lecce also played that night
Je pense que oui.
with Lucio.
Yeah. Was Lucio playing? No, I think it was Rémi.
Lucio was with Lecce's band. Remy was with us. Yeah. Wild. How time flies.
Yeah, that's crazy. The evolution of playing in Blue Dog where there's no sound card or there was nothing there for us to play on. And Nick had to bring his system.
He had to bring his mixer. Yeah, he had to bring his mixer with him. That was a tough show. Blue
Yeah.
Dog is a vibe, but it's not really
People just came in to party and then they were at the back just hanging out.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But then so then we eventually got to some bigger stages. What would you say, some of the big pivotal shows and moments, like moments that really marked for you being in this band, sort of like what are the special ones for you,
Well, obviously there's the Mtelis show where we opened for what's her name? Clara Luciani?
Yeah.
Luciani, something like that.
I stored my mind, my heart on annihilate to distance myself from where I've been.
3,000 people in a room, kind of still in the pandemic, so that was pretty cool. And I mean, that was a vibe. I
Yeah, that
think
was crazy.
My feet were like stuck to the floor for the first two songs. Whoa, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of people.
We've done some cool festivals since then. We did Petit Campus
Yeah.
right after that. That was really nice. I think that's the first time I played guitar and Ellie played bass.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
We've
And I was like, what? Jeff's been hiding this skill this whole time? Like,
Don't tell anybody. I can play guitar, but I don't.
he can play very well. He's very, very good.
Ouais, c'est un beast, là.
Yeah, he's just goes crazy on that shit.
Yeah,
But
you're
okay,
gonna
so-
edit that out though.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Everyone needs to know. But okay, so what are your top 2-3 favorites? Like the ones that really like. Okay, Tellus.
Tellus was awesome.
Yeah.
Like we did that little church tour a
Yeah.
month ago, the Chapelle and
Yeah.
Beam,
Or-
Le
Et
Beam.
Le
Ah, no.
Beam.
Ouais.
Chapelle.
Those were really cool. I kind of think of them as just kind of one show because it was
Yeah.
same tour, same sound
Weekend, yeah.
guy, same
Yeah.
light person. Like everything
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
But that was really nice. Kind of wild that we played on the anniversary of the explosion in Lac Mégantic and kind of getting invited to this barbecue to honor that, and
Yeah.
it just happening to be that day was
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah, it
And,
was a very intimate moment.
definitely put a lot of responsibility on you to acknowledge that.
Yeah, it was an honor, but also it made people come through. So I was also grateful for that.
Mhm.
You know, it's like a community-based event, you know, to gather people around for this anniversary. Otherwise, I don't know how many people would have showed up, but because of like how packed it was and just like community vibes, it just felt good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think Mégantic is like one of those spots for us now that, that just feels like, okay, like there's an audience for Hansom here, you know? Comme on a fait le festival Colline l'année dernière
Mhm.
en première de Daniel Bélanger, puis là cette fois-ci cette belle chapelle. Puis je pense que justement ces deux shows-là vont faire en sorte qu'à partir de maintenant, quand on va aller à Mégantic, il va y avoir tout le temps comme un base de gens.
Mm.
Puis on a aussi Hubert qui organise les shows là-bas, qui est comme super fan de nous, puis qui
Ouais.
est juste super fin,
Ouais,
puis,
sa famille est trop nice.
puis
ouais.
motivé. Donc, so that feels really good. I really liked the Mégantic shows, both of them.
Yeah.
The one that we did last year too.
Yeah, and that reminds me too. La Sève this year,
Oh, yeah.
also opening for
So,
Danielle was really cool. Spending some time with the master afterwards.
The Master Danny B.
Have some tequila. What a trip!
Yeah.
Such a nice guy, such a pro. And then got home at 2 a.m. Flew out at 4 a.m. and
Yeah.
started a different tour
That's it.
with a
That's
different
true.
band.
So Jeff has a tendency of like traveling across Canada a few times a year, but this summer you kind of went all out because you did it twice, basically. Well, one time you flew,
Yeah,
and recently you drove there and back.
yeah. Legendary. Got a flat tire. Made it in time. 15 minutes before we left
That's true.
for Sherbrooke. Pretty proud of that.
Yeah. And then we got to the show and it was raining. And then there was this possibility of not playing the show. And then it was like, did Jeff just drive 50 hours to not do a show? So
Yeah,
that was freaky.
Yeah, but we made it. It was okay. We made it worth our while, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was like kind of our reunion. So we just kind of went off, musically. I think we just had fun for that show.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have smaller crowds to test out
Yeah.
not necessarily new material, but new approaches to material. As you
Mm.
said, sometimes I like to reharmonize songs on the spot.
Yeah.
I try to not do it to the detriment of the music, but
No,
sometimes an audience of the band that played before us and our manager, that's the perfect opportunity to
Yeah.
see what works and what doesn't in
Yeah.
a live music setting.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
And you've also, you're like, apart from Jan, I would say, are the member that has contributed the most to the recordings for Hansom Eli. Like, there's so many songs, not only on the album that's coming out, or that will be out when we put this out, but also some of the earlier songs, like all the way back to, I think the first one that you recorded on was Summarize. Is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
And you had broken your leg.
Oh my God.
And I was like, Geoff, I don't care that you broke your leg. I need you to do this now.
Yeah, it wasn't just Summarize. I think there was 2 or 3 from that time. And there was also Lecce's whole album.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a really bad broken leg. I had 3 surgeries, basically just snapped all the bones and tendons in my foot. And so I have basically no recollection of doing any of those recordings. The OxyContin was flowing, and
Oh my God.
I'm definitely the worst guest you guys are ever gonna have. And
Oh, man.
I do kind of remember you telling me I needed to get it done, but I was like pretty bummed out, missed the whole summer, and like, yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
But sometimes that brings out some good bass playing. I don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Summarize it's pretty edited,
Mhm.
but it is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of like was the moment where I started to really experiment with having live bass and synth bass in the same song and sort of working together,
Mhm.
which isn't always easy because shaping the low end is that's where the energy is, so but you have a tendency to have really beautiful lines and connecting lines, like passing phrases that help the turnaround in a song or to sort of lead to the next parts. And sometimes you just have like great hooks, like in Golden there's a great hook of yours, and in the new album there's a bunch. But there was one song that's full of hooks, but that took a lot of takes to get.
Yeah. 156?
I think
Was that
36.
136?
Yeah,
Okay.
136 takes.
So that took a weekend,
Yeah, it was like 3 days of
But
like recording and editing.
yeah, but I think it stands as one of the best tunes we've released so far, and the bass definitely works on it. I know because occasionally I get the odd message where people are like, "Hey, are you the bass player from Uma? Can you like track my record?"
No.
Yeah, that's happened.
No.
So it
Wow.
served me well, that tune.
Wow.
And plus it's a beautiful tune, and the video's awesome, and got this guy dancing
True, yeah.
for 2
Little
about
step bits.
for like 2 little snidbits
Yeah.
in there.
So there you go. Anyway, so when we were recording those takes, I remember, because originally I had written sort of the bass idea of the song, just this sort of little don't get. But then you came in, and the thing with Geoff is that, when we say 136 takes, it's not 136 passes through the whole song. It's like punching in certain parts and sometimes looping certain sections. But what is crazy about Geoff is that whenever he records a take, it's never the same. Like, he will never play the same thing twice. And so that can be really great, and it can be frustrating as well, because sometimes you just need the same thing, but just better, But Geoff will just come in and reinvent the thing over and over and over again. And so that's just really fun for me, because I get to through compose a bass section for a song like Uma. Like, there's very few notes that are repeating, and there's a lot of emphasis on the bass. I think as a drummer, I have a lot of love for that instrument, and so it kind of like I want our bass to sound expensive. You know, I want people to think like, oh yeah, like these guys, like they get it. You know, and so
That's a good quote.
They pay their bass player, and they feed him too.
that's true. That's true. We even lodge you sometimes.
Yeah, presently.
Presently, yeah. So that's one of those songs that I'm really grateful for, and that I'm really proud of that collaboration. Because when Geoff and I record those takes, like often we're just sitting here in this space, and just kind of bouncing around different ideas, and he's just like has to stay in one specific spot because that's where there's the least amount of interference in the room, and he just goes and goes and goes. And it's sometimes it's like almost fun to like tell you to do another and another and another, and you're just like, okay, how do I do this again? Like reinvent it for the 50th time. But I love that about you, you know.
Well, I think that song kind of formed the framework for how we approach the music live, and not just that tune, but I think pre-Uma, this was a very different sounding band, and there was sort of a lot less freedom in the rhythm section. And after that, like I think you started playing more parts instead of like just like beats and framing the tune. And then that gave me, because we've just clocked 1 million hours playing together with other people in this band and my band and everything. So we have a certain freedom with that I think serves as a better pad for you as a vocalist, kind of, or maybe it's really distracting. I don't know. I'm not a vocalist.
I mean, I think that's what's kind of crazy with your playing is that it's like so big, but doesn't distract me. Whereas like sometimes some bass players will play with us, and I don't know. It doesn't. It feels. I know it's right, but it feels off because it's supposed to be the way it's being played. But with you, I don't. Also, I always turn it down in my ears. A bass is like for me. I mean, all instruments are distracting to me. Like you know what I mean. I need to have it like really balanced out.
Yeah.
Nothing can come too high in my ears, or else I'm like, what's happening? But, yeah, it's a weird thing. You've never distracted me.
Yes.
And that's like, it's for real. I'm not just like saying.
Oh, sick.
And it's strange, but it's actually super weird because like sometimes you play things, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I'm really focused on what you're playing while I'm just like, keep comfortable with what I need to do.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the right names, but I took a lesson with this guy Desron Douglas, who's an upright player in New York, like just absolute monster
New York
player who's played with everybody. And he was telling me a story of, I think he was auditioning to play with Sarah Vaughan, or maybe it was his teacher who was auditioning for Sarah Vaughan. But he was telling me this story of like, it was just the two of them. They called some jazz standard, and he just like got in his zone, closed his eyes, and played the song like the best he's ever played it. And then opens his eyes at the end of the tune, and she was like, "Okay, you can go." And he's like, "Well, like, is it happening or not?" And she's like, "Absolutely not. You never looked at me once. Like, no, you're not my bass player, but you play great. Good luck."
Whoa.
And that freaked me out. Ever since then, I've been like
Oh.
very conscious of what's happening in the melody. What's the singer doing? Are they comfortable? Are they having a good night? Are they having an off night? Do I need to
Wow.
like play around that? Don't fuck with the melody, you know? Like
Yeah.
make sure that it's clear and outlined in the bass line, but don't play polyrhythms and stuff
Yeah,
that
don't
would
take it
distract
over.
from it.
Wow.
So that was
That
like,
changed your life.
it did. It really changed how I approach playing with singers. I wouldn't give the same courtesy to like a trumpet player or a horn player as much. You know, for me, that's something more to play off of. But yeah, there's so many people that go to concerts specifically just to hear the lyrics, you know, and just like setting a nice framework for that, I think is really important.
Setting framework, yeah. I mean, whether it's like in jams or in live prepared shows, like I know that's a thing that you as a drummer, Alexi, has always paid a lot of attention to. I remember one time we were at Emma's party and we were jamming in one of the rooms and
Oh,
people
yeah.
were going off and I was trying to like put a word in.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just not going to sing because this is like people think they can just like take all the space. So like the drums was going off while the guitar was going off, while the bass is like, I'm doing the best solo of my life. And it's like, whoa, everyone, we can't hear
3
anything.
electric guitars and just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I think there's this, awareness to have, like in any instance, and that's why some jams are better than others, because it's like we listen to each other.
Yeah,
So-
wow, I hadn't thought about that moment in a while.
That was so chaotic. I was like, what?
Yeah, but that's it. There was a moment where I remember I got on the kit and
You
like,
screamed at someone,
and
you're
I
like,
was-
yeah!
I just told everyone to stop, and I was just like, okay, we're just gonna listen to each other for a moment, and I'm gonna like call, I'm gonna point to the next person who gets to take that space, and it lasted 4 or 5 minutes,
Yeah.
before it started to break
True.
apart. But those were great, 4 or 5 minutes, and sometimes I've always approached playing the drums from a singer-songwriter perspective in a way. Like I really hear the lyrics and the melody and the intention of that, but then also the overall arrangement and how to frame dynamics within that song. So I try to really be able to sing any part, or almost any part of the band, even if I can't. If I'm not on piano, or if I'm on, not on one of those instruments, I don't always remember the chords, but I can sing the part. I know what I want to hear, and so that's reflected in how I play. And I find that with Geoff, we can kind of read each other's minds now, and when we play together, we lock in so fast, and it just feels liberating, because then it's like, okay, well, I know who I can lean on, and I know when I can kind of go off and do my thing and try some stuff, and vice versa. I'll keep it locked in if Geoff goes off, or JC or whatever. We kind of pass that torch around. Yeah, no,
Or in Sip, we both go off.
Yeah,
Coming out of that chorus.
Yeah, that's sick.
that's really fun.
Those are some of my favorite moments.
One of us always misses that downbeat. It's
One of
perfect.
us,
It's
eh?
perfect.
Yeah. I wonder who.
Me.
Man.
Yeah, that was cool, because when we played on Saturday, like I just came off a big summer of festivals and touring, and played with other drummers, Adam Lazar, Jake Jenny, Simon Stockner, really great players. But it was cool coming back on stage with you, and like, oh, I know what Philly's about to play 2 bars from now. I'm gonna do it with them. And it was like, oh yeah, I'm home.
Yeah. Well, and Geoff is also, he's like a gentle giant. He plays bass incredibly and guitar. He's also a piano player. Like he low-key just wrecks on piano. But he's also like just really reliable friend, and he's been really good at helping us out, when we're traveling, when we need someone to drive, or just like setting up on stage that whole those moments where it's kind of chaotic and we have to move things around and plug everything in and get our sound. Like you're always so good at that, and sometimes you're so good at not communicating the problems that happen because you're working them out, that you play without any monitoring. At some shows, like you play with no sound coming in your ears, and at the end you're like, yeah, I couldn't hear anything. Like there was just the bass, but
Yeah, my battery pack died at Big Got Sick, and I was like, whatever, I know the songs.
That's
It's
crazy.
gonna be okay.
and like you never notice. Like I never noticed that was happening.
That's so funny because the contrast of like Ellie at the show in Gaspé.
Yes, but yeah.
I like was about to start the song, and I just like looked like to the back to check Alexi to be like, we're good. And then Ellie, while I come back to my position, there's Ellie like, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And I didn't realize what was going on, but right away he was like, holy Christ, I need my batteries.
Yeah.
And then like the song after that happened, but like the contrast.
Yeah, I'm also a technophobe, which
Yeah.
which has something to do with that.
Yeah.
Where just like you've seen me like it's totally struggling to put in-ears on stage.
Yeah.
Which one is right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man.
so yeah, I mean, battery packs and in-ear monitors. I mean, I'm very much a bass,
Plugging,
couple
playing.
pedals, kind of
Yeah.
tube amp, and like that's my style. It's old school gear, and my fingers do the work. But it's not to say that it's not like I need to get better at this. I do know that.
What, at communicating? or
The
or
technology.
to use
Technology.
technology?
Yeah.
Which one you pick?
Well, one thing at a time. I can learn how to use a battery pack and then work on my talking.
Okay, I see the priorities.
Oh man. Well, so I guess to conclude, like Geoff obviously plays with us a lot, but he also has a lot of different projects. He has his own project. What is that? Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's my kind of like electric band project. Just did a bunch of shows this summer in BC. I usually tour with a quintet out of Smithers, British Columbia. Sometimes we add some people. Alexi came out in March and we did a double drummer fiesta where we toured I didn't tour actually, we just kind of played one show, but we were there as a 7-piece band.
We played two.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's the oxy. No, I'm kidding.
I'm a PR nightmare.
It's all blurring together.
Yeah, and so I'm working on what's supposed to be my first full-length album, but it's my 4th record in the studio. Alexi did all the drums. He's doing all the drum comping and probably gonna mix it and master it. And I'm gonna pay him handsomely. See what I did there? And
It's on the record now.
yeah.
Whoops.
And yeah, so I don't know. A lot of my influence comes from kind of electric and modern jazz, starting with like Chick Corea all the way to Snarky Puppy and Dirty Loops and Cory Wong, that kind of area of music. So I'm trying to write my own stuff that's in that vein, and I don't know if it's any good.
There's
probably
some,
not. but
There's some heavy hitting songs on this next
yeah,
record.
there's some heavy hitting players. I think that's like the true key to writing well, is just giving a nice pad for people way better than me to do their thing.
How many tracks on the album?
Looking at 9.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
it is.
It's very
yeah.
exciting.
Lauren Lofsky on guitar.
Legend.
How did that even happen? Why did he say yes to that?
Wow. Anything else you want to share, Geoff? Any other experiences from back in the days, moments like...
I have a
Learn-
question, actually.
Oh, yeah. Cam has a question.
Well, Geoff, I'm curious, what does Alexi bring in your life? Not as a musician, but as a friend,
Oh, wow.
what does he bring to you?
I don't know. It's one of those moments where I was like, oh man, this is a true brother. We met as kind of bassist and drummer working at this music school, and then actually had personalities that clicked very well. And yeah, musically and otherwise, I don't know that there's actually a real divide between the two, because both of our lives are
Yeah.
so devoted to the craft that, yeah, like we look out for each other, and I know what's going on in his life and in mine, but we bring it just as equally to the stage, I think. And
Yeah.
and the tour bus too. Like, I feel that people look at musicians a lot as what they are on stage, but we spend 10 times the amount of time driving to gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a good connection like that is really important. And it's always bass and drums, like,
That's what matters.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah, see, I knew it would just go back to music, because it always does with you guys. But yeah, okay, thank you.
Music is life,
Yeah.
If that's
Yes.
how it feels.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. But then, and like when, I guess my last, like when you met, like when you guys met, You know, that took some time because I remember when I met Geoff, you know, I was like kind of intimidated by you a little bit because I felt that I don't know, like first of all you're quiet, so getting past like the initial buffer that you put out, you know, like it takes a moment to just to really feel your whole being, you know. But then you were also just such a monster player that I was like, oh, like I'm not good enough, you know, like I have to catch up. I have to work hard to keep up with this dude.
You did too.
You know,
I wasn't even very good at bass back then, and you were like, you just thought I was. So you started practicing like crazy, and I was like, oh fuck, now I need to practice like crazy. But it worked out, you know.
But then with Cam, like, because you guys met, you know, at those for the rehearsals early on for those shows, but you know, it took a couple of years before you actually spent time together.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember when we did the Café Campus show, we went for Mexican food, and I remember we were talking about I think there was a music playing in the background that was just like the same, like 2 chords for like 25 minutes. It was just this looping song, and you're just making comments about music and about how you just want a new chord, like just give me a new chord, and you were laughing, you know. And I think that was the first time that Cam saw you laugh. She's like, Geoff is so serious all the time, you know. And I remember that moment. So how did that like evolve, you know, all the way to, spending all that time on stage and in the car and traveling, and like how's that evolved for you, Cam?
Well, yeah, I don't know. For me, if it was like intimidating, that you were intimidating, it was more, I didn't know ever what you were thinking.
I do get that a lot.
You know, I get that too, and I don't. I'm also very quiet. Like maybe you don't feel that because you're like another type of quiet that's just like, well, same quiet but just more extreme, maybe. You know.
I don't know. Am I?
Well, you are quiet. I mean, less now because I think we're getting to know each other. But even then, like we don't hang out like you and Alexi do. But yeah, I was more like, what is this guy thinking? Does he like me? Like, does he like the band? Is he all right? Is he happy? Is he sad? I was just like, I hope he's chill, you know, and like with time, I do remember that day. I was like, wow, he's so pretty when he laughs. Like he's so cute. I was like, I'm so down, you know. And then it became a goal of mine. But I think that it is really nice to have someone who's like chill like you are when we tour, because I get like anxious and just like stressed. And I think that to have you around is always like nice vibes. Like even though I was always questioning, it was always like, but at least like there's like a gentle giant. Yeah, like just someone who kind of brings the mood, like, you know, like tames it down.
Yeah, very
fine,
cool.
you know?
Like
yeah,
very
everything's
just
fine, you know, like
yeah.
Even though maybe that's not how you feel, because we're not sure, ever sure.
That is how I feel. Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. No,
But yeah, for me, I think that's really like an asset for the team. In regards to how I feel.
I have a good anecdote actually on this subject. What was the town called where we filmed those videos at the church?
La Valtrie.
La Valtrie,
Yeah, I remember we were doing sound check at La Valtrie, and I guess it was probably before the laughing at the Mexican food restaurant. But I remember like we were sound checking or something, and then you came up to me and you're like, "Hey," and I was like, "What's up?" And you like showed me all your fingernail clippings. And I was like, awesome, dude. And then I was thinking, like, did we just become friends?
Oh. That's so cute.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That's adorable.
Fingernail clippings.
And
shit.
It really stuck with me. It's like you didn't show them to anyone else. I was like,
Damn.
I'm in the inner circle now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You win. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, important for me that you were calm like that. But I'm down to hang out someday. Just like hanging out, even with Alexi, you know, because we always hang out because there's music.
Yeah.
But we can, you know.
We've had some pretty deep conversations on drives back from places.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
Yeah.
last one moment that sticks out to me in my mind from this past summer was when we were in Sherbrooke and we played Festival Lac des Nations, and Geoff was leaving the next morning, but we were staying at Hôtel Le Président, and we had a little setup outside. It was like maybe 1 a.m, and we were just sitting outside on some lawn chairs and eating our chips, or drinking tequila and talking together. And I just remember like just looking at everyone and realizing how lucky we are to have such cool people and around us that are just like kind and gentle and easygoing, So yeah, I feel like you've been a good soul to have around with Hansom, like it fits really well, and I'm grateful for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you, Geoff.
I love you guys.
Oh, I love you, Geoff.
Yeah.
So what should we leave this on? What song do you think people should hear your bass playing on? Maybe like a Turnaround on Golden, or like hits on Uma,
Yeah.
or from the new album, maybe Sip. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think you said putting Uma we were going to put that in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Golden's a nice call.
All
I
right.
haven't listened to that tune
All
in
right.
ages.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the chords are for that.
That's true. Yeah, Geoff likes to tell me that. Well, the other day he said that I now I know more about chords than before, and maybe that's to my own detriment, because now things aren't as ambiguous maybe as they used to be. So I'll try to unlearn all those things that I learned.
Everything. Scrap it.
Scrap it. So thanks for joining us on this podcast, and we'll leave you to Golden.
See you next time.
Till next time.
I can't wait till you come